Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Management till fourth chapter. Whatever we are discussing is about disaster management. We are not yet started with mitigation measures. So for mitigating, we require good planning, some emergency programs. On the same side, there are different techniques related to each type of hazard, which we will be discussing in detail in sixth chapter. Whereas the most important factor, that is finance and cost, how much that particular operation will cost and from where we are raising the fund. That important factor will be discussed in next module. In relation with fourth module, in last lecture, we discussed about management of casualties on local level and by improving the infrastructure. We have also started with next point, that is precaution and management of emergency programs. So we have started noting down point. I guess we have write down 2 points. We'll move further. Those who are not present, you can take down 2 points from others or will be sharing recorded session. You will get 2 points from there. So let us move further. Hope all are ready with their notepad and pen. After this, we have the last part remaining of this fourth module. So by this week, we'll complete with fourth module. We're left with 2 modules only. So let us try to complete syllabus as early as possible so that you will get time for other things. So as we were discussing, the question was, those who are absent, question note down kar lo. Question was preparation and execution of emergency management program. तो इसमें तुम लोग को शॉर्ट नोट लिखना आ सकता है. What is the importance or why it is necessary? What are the objectives? Any type of question may ask which is related to preparation and execution of emergency management programs. As we know, we have very good policies and programs, but those are not implemented properly, or you can say the execution is not in proper way. Now why it is happening? Because we are not prepared for it. We require some basic resources before starting with that particular program or course. If that is not present, it will be very difficult to implement or execute that particular type of program. For that reason, we have to manage it properly. मैनेजमेंट का डेफिनेशन सबको पता है, सबने लिखा है. So I'm not discussing again and again. But to get success in any type of program, or you can say execution of civil engineering structure also, you require very good management. So the first point we have discussed That is regarding the goal of this emergency preparedness programs. That is to achieve a satisfactory level of readiness to respond to any emergency situations through programs that strengthen the technical and managerial capacity of government, organization and communities. तो मतलब क्या इसका मेन एम क्या है? To prepare everyone and to be ready to respond to any type of emergency situation. Flooding हो गया, earthquakes हो गए, cyclone हो गए, by arranging programs that will strengthen your technical as well as managerial capacity. So means this program should increase your capacity of government organizations as well as some private organization and communities in means of technical, that means by providing the latest equipments and technology and managing all the resources available with you in a very good manner so that the capacity will get increased. Then we have note down second point. That was these measures can be described as logistical readiness to deal with disaster and can be enhanced by having response mechanism and procedures, rehearsals, developing long-term and short-term strategies, public education, and building early warning systems. So in this particular point, it is very clear that we should have long-term as well as short-term goals. अब short-term goals क्या होते हैं? That we are setting for like for next 30 days or next 6 months, what should be my plan of action? That is known as just short-term goals. Whereas long-term goals or long-term policies are maintained by keeping in mind for a longer period, like you can say for a 2 years, 5 years or 10 years plan. So that is nothing but long-term policies or long-term strategies. So generally we go for both the type of strategies, short-term as well as long-term. So for example, BMC has set up a short-term goal or short-term strategy to clear all the nalas or rivers in their region before mid of June, means before starting of rainy season. तो ये उनका प्रिपेयरनेस का एक तरीका है. दिस इज द स्ट्रेटेजी कि ये गोल उन्होंने सेट किया है. लॉन्ग टर्म क्या रहेगा कि थ्रू आउट द रेनी सीजन देयर वोंट बी एनी प्रॉब्लम ऑफ वाटर लॉगिंग इन एनी एरियाज. तो उनका लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग होता है, लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटेजी होता है. तो फॉर दैट रीजन दे हैव installed different pumps of different capacity and in low-lying areas as well as they are improving their drainage system. So these are their some strategies. Secondly, we have to educate public or people by providing awareness signs, or you can say warning signs, warning alarms. The particular regions, many a time we have seen in news because of open manholes. Someone fall in that manhole and ran out to the sea. So to avoid this, we should provide proper warning signs over there. We have to keep the manhole open, so we have to provide proper warning sign over there to avoid any type of such accidents or casualties. And on the same way, we should have a very good response mechanism and procedure, and we have to rehearse them regularly. in many organizations, companies, we have mock drills, fire mock drills, you can say. This is nothing but a rehearsal how you will perform or react at the time of actual hazardous situation. How your mechanism and the procedure of plan will work in that particular situation. And for the same, we have to rehearse it. So whenever you are going to act in a play or you have to perform anywhere, we rehearse it, right? We keep on practicing it. Continuous practice is needed. In same way, in disaster management also, we require a continuous practice. जैसे तुम लोग करते हो फर्स्ट ईयर सेकेंड ईयर में जो सीखा वो फाइनल ईयर तक किसी को याद नहीं रहता है. रादर आई विल से लास्ट सेम में जो हुआ था वो तुम लोग को नेक्स्ट सेम में याद नहीं होता है. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ विच we fail to perform in interviews. That is the only reason. If we have continuously sharpen our mind, continuously अगर तुम लोग important point note down करके read करते हो, then it will be easier to you to get through gate also and as well as clear many interviews. Then third point. Second point तक हम लोग ने note down किया था. Now start with third point. Ready है सब लोग? If you are with me, please put yes message in your chat box so that we can start with third.
हेलो सर.
हाँ बोलो धवल.
सर थोड़ा जोर से डिक्टेट करना.
यस एकदम पूरी जी जान लगा के डिक्टेट करूंगा मैं. टेंशन मत ले. तू सुनना भी थोड़ा जोर लगा के. ओके. चिराग गंगानी किधर है बाबा? 2-3 लेक्चर गायब है.
सर थोड़ा बीमार था.
हाँ वही लगा मैं कैसे पूछने वाला था. एवरीथिंग इज फाइन. रेनी सीजन है बाबा. सब लोग घर पे ही रहो. सेफ रहो. चलो सो लेट अस स्टार्ट. थर्ड पॉइंट अगर नहीं सुने देते तो बोल देना चैट बॉक्स में. I will repeat. Preparedness can also take the preparedness can also take the form of ensuring that strategic reserves food, equipment, water, medicines, and other essentials are maintained in case of maintained in repeat करो. Reserves of food, equipment, water, medicines, and essential are maintained in ensuring that strategic reserves food, equipment, water, medicines, and other essentials are maintained in case of natural or local catastrophes. CATASTROPHES. So as we have discussed already, preparedness is very important when it comes to applying any type of program or policy. So for doing so, we should be prepared in the form of what? Ensuring that we have sufficient reservation of food, equipments, water, medicines, and any other essential services or equipments or tools which we require in case of any type of natural or local catastrophes, or you can say hazards. Now why it is important? Because then and only then, कितना भी अच्छा तुम लोगों ने प्लान किया हो या डिजाइन किया हो प्रोग्राम, it will require what? It will require resources. Resources in terms of what? Essential services, food, some equipments for search and rescue operation. You can say we require JCPs, dumpers, or you can say lifting and hauling equipment for clearing debris from the landslide area, or you can say earthquake areas as well. So in that region, we require such type of equipments and tools. So that should be reserved with the local authorities, or you can say with the search and rescue team. Otherwise, there will be delay in responding, and that will cause more casualties. Fourth point, during the preparedness phase, governments, organizations, and individuals develop plans to save lives, minimize disaster damage, and enhance disaster response operations.
सर एनहांस के बाद
And enhance disaster response operations. So in this phase, that is the first phase of responding to disaster, we prepare ourselves on individual level as well as our community or organization is prepare themselves to fight against that type of disaster, as well as we have some government policies and programs to reduce any such type of disaster. Good morning, Agam. So these all plans have only one goal or towards only one objective is to save life and minimize the disaster damage. And this will be possible by ensuring quick response and in a right way. सिर्फ response नहीं देना तुम लोग को, but it should be in a right way. So for that reason, what we require continuous education, awareness, and training as well at organization and individual levels. Because in any type of such situation, सबका दिमाग सब सेम नहीं चलेगा. Many a times accidents took place. देखो same condition है. Two cars are running parallelly. उनके सामने pothole आता है और someone emergency braking करता है. So if you observe, दोनों ड्राइवर्स का रिएक्शन टाइम अलग अलग होता है and because of which one will collide but other will stop just before the particular vehicle or pothole, or you can avoid that particular obstacle or hurdle. अब ये क्यों होता है? Because individual जो level होता है of thinking and reacting is different. तो same disaster response में भी होता है. And that's why each and every individual should be trained and educated regarding the particular hazard. Now next point. Preparedness measures include preparedness plans. The preparedness measures include preparedness plans. Now what are those plans? तो उसमें ही कंटिन्यू करो पॉइंट. These are the plans. Emergency exercise or training. You can say emergency exercise, emergency exercise slash training.
तो फिर से रिपीट करना.
Emergency exercise slash training. मतलब क्या है? We should give emergency trainings. कहाँ से मतलब तुम लोग को exits है, or if the staircase is blocked, what are the other means or what are the other chances from where you can escape from that particular disaster. उसका ट्रेनिंग देना है. That is comes under preparedness plan. Next लिखो उसमें warning systems. Fire alarms हो गए, as well as nowadays we have alarm system which will warn you if there are conditions of flooding or excessive rainfall, because of which there might be a chance of flooding. Yesterday only PM has a conference meeting with CM of 6 states जिसमें अभी continuously flood आ रहा है. In that meeting only they are discussed about these warning systems which will give you warning well before time so that you will be prepared कि कौन से एरिया में कितना रेनफॉल होगा and because of which what will be the precipitation and what will be the amount of water you have to release from dams and what will be their effects. This type of technology we are developing. Already it is in practice, but it requires some modifications. Then फॉर्मा करके लिखते जाओ ये emergency communication systems. Now we have such type of systems. Security system तुम लोग बोल सकते हो, मोबाइल में होता है. We have for apartments, homes, bungalows also. If someone break into your house, we have some alarming systems which will directly communicate with nearby police station. In that in the outlet of fire, it will directly communicate with the firefighting systems as well as with police and ambulance. So these are some very good technologies which will be useful in such type of conditions. This is nothing but emergency communication systems, automatic systems. The next, resource inventories. Now, what do you mean by resource inventories? So we have to maintain, in the sense, the organization which is working for disaster management has to maintain a records of all the resources available in the nearby areas or locally. For example, I require dumpers, JCBs, or I require electric drill machines. So who are the suppliers? कहाँ से मुझे मिल सकता है immediately at the time of disastrous situations? So we have to maintain their records and we have to renew them. In construction industry also, we have to maintain the records from where we can get natural sand, artificial sand, cement, aggregate, admixtures. So you have to maintain this inventories. And these resource inventories you will be studying in next semester in details. We are also planning for short or long-term course on construction management as well. Let's see. So we are trying everything and it will succeed if you respond to them very well. तुम लोग के लिए सब हो रहा है, थोड़ा सीरियस होके रिस्पॉन्ड करो उसको अच्छे से. ओके, कंटिन्यू करो उसको. Emergency persons and contact list. Emergency persons and contact list. Next, mutual aid, AID, mutual aid agreements. And public information / education. So we should also have the contact of person to be called at the time of such type of disaster. किसको कांटेक्ट करेंगे तो हमारा काम हो जाएगा, और he is the supplier of that particular equipment of machinery we required or any other material we required. Then we have some MOUs. So किसके साथ है वैसे हमारे agreements which should be helpful in such type of disaster conditions. And then continuously spreading information and education among the public. So this comes under preparedness plan. So 5 points are enough. There are other few points I will just discuss with you. अगर कुछ important लगता है तो you note down. Then also, as a mitigation efforts, this preparedness action depend upon the incorporation of appropriate measures in natural and regional development plans. तो इसलिए हम लोग अभी देखते हैं ना, developed cities या फिर you will say smart cities, or you can say town planning. ये सब वर्ड्स क्यों आ रहे हैं अभी? Because of this reason only. These towns or cities are planned keeping in mind all type of hazardous situation as well as what is the need and what are the preparedness and mitigation efforts and techniques required. Keeping in mind this everything, so you can say overall development of particular plot, that is known as town planning, or you can say smart cities. While we talk about Mumbai, it is unplanned. जैसे जहाँ जिसको जगह मिला, accordingly they go with construction. The 50% of land is reclaimed from sea. And because of that reason only, we are facing this type of problems regularly. As compared to other cities, we will take example of न्यू बॉम्बे. सब लोग हो? चलो यहाँ पे अभी थोड़ा तुम लोग से रिस्पॉन्ड चाहिए. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ न्यू बॉम्बे. क्या बोलते थे सब लोग? न्यू बॉम्बे इज अ डेवलप्ड सिटी, और यू कैन से प्लान्ड सिटी, राइट? Before 4-5 years back then, if you see, actually वो प्लान सिटी था. मुंबई में फ्लडिंग सिटी होती, लेकिन वहां पे नहीं होता था. मुंबई में ट्रैफिक जाम होता था, वहां पे नहीं होता था. बट इफ यू सी द करंट सिचुएशन इन दैट एरिया ऑल्सो, वहां पे भी अभी ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहे हैं, सेम प्रॉब्लम्स जो मुंबई में होता है. व्हाट इज द रीजन? कोई है न्यू बॉम्बे साइड रहने वाला? एनीवन? ठीक है, कोई वाशी के आगे रहने वाला? नो वन. पॉपुलेशन. ओके, और बोलो और क्या होगा? ये सब पॉइंट अगर तुम लोग पता रहेगा, देन ओनली वी विल कंस्ट्रक्शन. ओके, सो व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट प्लान सिटी, तो उसके लिए वो लोग ने प्लान नहीं किया होगा क्या कि पॉपुलेशन कितना बढ़ सकता है इन नेक्स्ट 50 और 100 years? राइट, किया है वो लोग ने. तो और क्या हो सकता है प्रॉब्लम्स? वही तो पूछ रहा हूं मैं. Mital is in construction, Siddesh is in management. Okay, management in terms of what? Drainage, Okay, agreed. Public awareness is not there. ये भी agree. चलो. ड्रेनेज सिस्टम. देखो मेरा डिजास्टर आ गया. Ill future planning. Okay. Now what is the actual reason we'll discuss. चलो. What happened? जब उसका actual planning हुआ, back then 30 years, 25 years ले लो चलो, 25 years, because I have attended one seminar जिसमें जो engineers है जो है actual involved in town planning of New Bombay, they were as a guest speaker. So he has discussed. So when they have planned, उन्होंने सब प्लान किया था for next 100 years कि next 100 years तक कितना population होगा. Accordingly, they have designed drainage system, water supply system, road systems, सब उसके हिसाब से ही था. Now what happened? We'll discuss. In that plan, they have only 5 bridges. 5 ही ब्रिज थे जो एक्चुअल प्लान था. ठीक है. And now if you see, we have at least 10 to 12 bridges connecting the highway. When the concreting is increased, जब concreting increase होगा उसके साथ क्या होता है? You have to dig a hole for your foundation again and again, so you are disturbing RL of actual ground. So construction is the main factor because of continuous construction, and which was not actually in the plan, because they have some reserve plots for each and every activities, for you can say for golf course, then for some playgrounds, swimming pools, सबके लिए वो अलग अलग रखा था उन्होंने. But nowadays what happening, all these lands are again using for residential or commercial complexes. तो उसके से हो क्या गया, जो एक्चुअल सिस्टम था उसके ऊपर लोड आया. And the main point of this flooding and all is related to concreting only. क्योंकि अगर 100% में से 50% लैंड मैंने रखा था ओपन स्पेस, मतलब क्या सॉइल ना, सॉइल शुड बी प्रेजेंट. तो क्या होता है, the water will get absorbed by the soil and your groundwater will be increase, right? But because of concreting, अभी क्या हो गया, only 10% land is available, or you can say open to absorb that water. तो अभी वो 40% जो extra water है, this will directly run off to your drainage system. तो जो 50% के लिए डिजाइन किया था उसके लिए अभी कितना लोड आ रहा है, 90% लोड आ रहा है. एंड दैट इज द मेन रीजन ये फ्लडिंग होता है, पॉटहोल्स होते हैं, ये सब क्यों होता है, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रीजन. तो ऐसे नहीं है कि प्लान नहीं किया था प्रॉपरली, प्लान प्रॉपरली किया था बट उसका एग्जीक्यूशन प्रॉपरली नहीं हुआ. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ नाउ न्यू पॉलिसीज आर कमिंग ओवर देयर, and because of that reason only excessive construction, not properly maintaining the laws, bylaws given by the government, this is the main reason New Bombay is also facing same problems that are faced by Mumbai. फिर मोनोरेल हो गया, मेट्रो हो गया, ये सब नहीं था पहले प्लान में ना, वो अभी आया. तो इसमें तो एक्सकेवेशन हो रहा है कंटिन्यूअसली, बराबर, उसके वजह से ऐसे प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहे हैं. ओके. एंड द लास्ट पॉइंट वाज The effectiveness depend upon the availability of information on hazard, emergency risk, and the countermeasures to be taken, and on the degree to which government agencies, non-government organizations, and the general public are able to make use of this information. It's very important. और सबसे अच्छा लाइव एग्जांपल है अपना ये कोविड, because the available information on this hazard is very complicated, you can say, or biased, you can say. So no one is having the actual information, और जिनके पास है they are not spreading it evenly, or you can say truly. कोई नहीं बताता जो true facts है. If you follow WHO, World Health Organization, every time they are releasing some irrelevant data, or you can say irrelevant information, which is having no connection with each other. पहले बोलते वो लोग कि this airborne, then they are saying social distancing is of no use. तो इससे होता क्या है? This is spreading chaos, and then people are get more afraid of such situations because we are not having any true information and awareness regarding that particular hazard, and that is the only reason it taking so much time for vaccination, because virus also changes forms and DNA continuously according to the environment. As human body transforms, the virus also transform itself. So अगर वो transfer कर रहा है, तो we also have to immune ourselves to fight back. तो ये एक होता है. Then emergency risk and the countermeasures. The countermeasures, what we have to do? We require good immune system. We require more number of beds, oxygen beds, ventilators to fight back. It is on the degree at which the government agencies and non-government organizations, NGOs, and general public are able to make use of this information. There are n number of guidelines circulated over the news as well as your WhatsApp, radio, newspaper. But many are public are avoiding purposely or not following that particular guidelines, and because of which we can see the count is still increasing. And on the other hand side, government is focusing towards unlocking. And nowadays you can see we have the festival time. So it is in her hand, totally public के हाथ में है सब, how they can avoid and make themselves immune and safe from such type of hazardous situation. In very first module only, we have discussed the vulnerability, that is we are vulnerable. Hazard, that is the virus is present over there. How we can increase our capacity? By staying at home, by using social distancing, by applying mask, by washing hand continuously. तो ये सब में सबसे ज़्यादा important है कि whenever it is not necessary, don't go out only. Stay at home. तो अब ये सब हमारे हाथ में है, how the public is responding for this response information. Government NGOs को जितना करना था वो तो कर ही रहे, and it is in hand of general public now. So this is all about the precautions and the management of programs of emergencies. Up till now, we have discussed many points, many important points, and this first module is very important in the point of view of your examination as well as many other informations. After this, the last part of this fourth module, and which is again very important, that is use of internet and softwares for effective disaster management. तो लोग भी सोच रहे हैं कि हम लोग ने इसके बारे में बात ही नहीं किया अभी तक, एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में, how we can use this for disaster management. So we use internet and softwares like we use GIS, remote sensing, as well as GPS as well for effective disaster management. For this, I have a small video. Let us see a video on this. Okay, बोलो audible है ना? We'll play a video. Give me a time. और कल क्या हो गया था? अटेंडेंस इतना लो क्यों था? एक तो कल गिन के तुम्हारे 2 लेक्चर हुए, उसमें भी बाद में सब गायब. Visible है screen.
At ITC, the Faculty of Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation of the University of Twente, we work together with governments, NGOs and private organisations to enable countries to deal with mankind's complex challenges. But what does this mean? With state-of-the-art technologies, we collect, analyse and use complex spatial data to help countries in dealing with national and global challenges. One of these challenges is disasters like earthquakes, floods, landslides and fires. We use Earth observation sensors to obtain spatial data of the Earth's surface. From this, we generate 3D landscape and city models that support applications like flood management, landslide monitoring and deforestation and forest fire recovery. We use drones to remotely reconstruct reality in 3D after a disaster. For example, after an earthquake, we remotely assess damage and potential dangers without physically entering dangerous or inaccessible areas. This helps experts to make important decisions for further actions and keeps first responders and officials out of harm's way. From image-based point clouds, we reconstruct complete 3D building models for emergency applications. This means that in case of a fire, gas leak, hostage situation or other hazards, emergency responses can act with the knowledge of real-time on-site information. Via education and by transferring and exchanging our knowledge, we provide countries with the ability and capacity to take on these complex challenges in an optimum manner and make planet Earth a better and safer place for everyone.
As we can see, by using remote sensing, aerial photography, GIS, GPS, all the data is gathered in the form of photographs, or you can say in the form of small maps is prepared, 3D map as well as 2D map we can prepare. And by using this 3D and 2D maps, we can actually find out the exact location as well as we can find out and we can track any type of casualties or the community or individual trapped in that particular hazardous situation, as well as we can find out the safer routes for rescue operation. We can spread the awareness program and educate people related to that particular type of hazard, as well as this is also useful at the time of fire, gas leak, as well as the type of terrorist attack where they keep hostages. So as you can see, they have discussed that they can prepare the 3D plan of a particular building, and by using the 3D plan, the response team can act accordingly and they can plan their rescue operation. बहुत सारे movies में देखा होगा, Hollywood movies if you are following. So we can get the exact location of hostage or firing without being actually physically present over there or without being making your own self vulnerable to that particular disaster. So by sitting at home or in the office only, we can find out all the information required by using such internet and very useful softwares. Usme generally we use drones also for aerial photography. We can take the help of satellites directly by using GPS and GIS. We can use remote sensings. So all this we'll be discussing it next lecture in detail. How this GPS, GIS, remote sensing is useful in disaster management. कैसे तुम लोग use कर सकते हो? Because तुम लोग सबको पता है, in your mobile phones you are using GPS, and in civil engineering also GIS, GPS, remote sensing has very good importance for doing your survey as well as planning of road networks or transportation networks as well as in town planning. तो ये सर्वे में तुम लोग ने सीखा हुआ है, तो हम लोग कल देखेंगे इसको डिटेल में और इसको एक्सप्लेन करेंगे. ठीक है? So I will take your attendance.